Welcome now to part B in Lifecycle and Products Reviews on the practice paper. There are 5 marks for this paper, so we'll look at these 5 questions in a moment. But of course, in the information box here, we find there's no bold information except for these 2 words, true statements. So as before, the information contained here is true. You will not need to look for it anywhere else, and you will not find it anywhere else for clarification. You've been told it is true, and that's it. So you don't have to go and confirm it from somewhere, from some other source. What we're looking at here is a representation of activities throughout our 5 phases. We've got 5 marks. It's usually 1 on each phase, and it's looking at the right level of activity for each particular one. So let's have a look at the first 5 statements here. So feasibility, very high level view of things, just an overall view of the project, but viability and worthwhileness. Are we going to be able to build it, and will it work? So the first thing here, document the production of a catalogue as an objective. Well, that's probably the main objective, so that's certainly that higher level enough to be in feasibility. Secondly, define the expected benefits from the Geneva launch. Well, this is something we're going to be including in the business case and feasibility, and we need to understand what those benefits are right at the beginning of the whole project life cycle, which is feasibility. Yes, we have pre-project as part of the overall product life cycle, but from a project point of view, feasibility is the first. So we need to define the benefits at that point. So A and B look like good statements, but let's check the other 3 anyway. C, liaise with the printers to confirm pricing. This is really very low level, very small, very detailed requirement, more likely to be something in your evolutionary development in the type box. So not here, so that's not a statement. Arrange delivery of all merchandise. Well, we're arranging delivery. This is towards the end, so we're in deployment. So again, that's not here. And finally, just confirm this one isn't either. Identify the most appropriate person to perform the role of sponsor. Well, that's really pre-project. We understand who that is at the beginning. We also understand the overall objectives of the project and its organizational strategic fit as well. So that's pre-project. So the answer there is A and B. Number 2, now we're looking at foundation level. Prioritization and sorting out and getting ready to get the project underway. So identify the most appropriate person. Visionary, well, a bit like this one about sponsor, we would do this in pre-project. So that's way before, long time before foundations. Record the production of a print-ready catalogue as a must-have requirement. So first thing to note, must-have are capitalized for the first letter in each part. This is to confirm it's a prioritization. If you just said must-have in lowercase, all of it in lowercase, that is not prioritization. So also note that foundations is the place where we start to formally prioritize requirements. Even though we put the prioritized requirements list and start documenting it in feasibility, we start to formalize the requirements as their prioritization in foundations. So B looks like a good option for the moment. C, decide whether to design the catalogue in-house or to outsource. So this is looking at the development approach. Now, the decide is the key word here. If it was defining, then that would more likely to be in feasibility. When we were putting down the business option and also defining at that point the approaches we might want to take. But now we're in foundations, we need to decide in foundations this particular development approach. So that's also a good option. Create a specification for the final deliverable. Well, this we do right at the very end. We're at the back of deployment. So that's not this phase. And assess whether the printed catalogue is likely to enable sales, right? Well, we can only assess something once we've got it built. And one of the key things about the phase we do this in is to look at realization of benefits right now to see how they may be going to work for us once the project is closing. So there could be indicative, it might be the full benefits coming out already. So the assessment this is done as a real-time assessment for the future of the catalog working in deployment. So the answers there are going to be B and C. Number 3 represents appropriate activities in evolutionary development. Now we're going to build the solution at this point really into something that's going to be deployable. So let's have a look at what's going on here. Ensure compatibility of database records with desktop publishing software. Well, this looks like a pretty good bit of activity, very detailed activity we need to do during evolutionary development. So A is a good start. B, create a specification for the final deliverable. Well, we already looked at this in a previous statement, actually one above, and decided that was actually deployment, so that's not here either. C, liaise with the printers to confirm pricing and so on. We saw this step before and allocated this as a time box level activity, evolutionary development, so that looks like a good option too. Right. Carry out an assessment of the benefits achieved as a result. Now the clue here is obviously achieved in the past, what's happened already gone, and therefore in post-project. Provide specialist training to those staff required to sell reg and second-hand books. Remember, training non-functional stuff is that type of work that we would normally carry out in deployment. So that confirms that answers are A and C for number 3. A and C for number 3. Okay, let's go and have a look at number 4 question. Now we're looking at deployment. Remember, we need to look at deployment about assessments and getting final specs together. So, statement A, ensure the desktop publishing software is made available to the design team. So this is actually an environment and a resource that the team need. This is decided on, ensure that it's made available in foundations, not in deployment, right? So this is something we have to set up much earlier in this. This is when we normally decide that, and it needs to be sort of set up ready before we get anywhere near evolutionary development, right? So nothing to do with deployment. B, calculate the sales achieved as a result of the first edition. Well, we're talking about the past tense here, and we can only do that once we're in post-project, so again, not deployment. Assess whether the printed catalogue is likely to enable. Now we saw this before, and we decided this was the deployment, which it is. So remember, we have to assess something once we release, and we're assessing what we've produced and see whether it's going to work, is likely to enable. So this is looking into the future. D, ensure compatibility of database records. Well, we already worked out that was actually in evolutionary development, and hopefully that was correct. We should look at must have been, because E is the answer here. Arrange delivery of all merchandise and stock to Geneva. So here we have the answers C and E. And finally, question 5, post-project. It really benefits assessment in the past of things worked or not. But it's always benefits assessment document and looking historically. So, ensure compatibility of database records is not an answer, nor is assessed, because we've already put that into deployment. And the same would provide specialist training, right? And number 8, of course, was evolutionary development. So only left with 2. And hopefully these are the right ones. Review the number of clients registered to receive future editions of the catalogue. Well, that's exactly what we're looking to do. How many people have registered to get more information. And more importantly, calculate the sales achieved as the result of the first edition. So that's looking at an assessment of how this whole project's worked and deliver benefits. So the answers there are D and E. So any concerns, you review those through the life cycle chapters in particular, where it gives the level of detail of activity and what sort of things you'll be doing in those particular cycles and those phases. Otherwise, do contact your tutor if you need further clarification or support or advice for anything. through the portal on the platform. Thank you.